In this exercise, we will begin with a new scene and the starter catalog here on the right hand side, and we will go through some of the features in sheet metal and some of the settings. So here in the starter catalog we have this sheet metal group, and you can also find the sheet metal catalog. If you click more catalogs, you find the sheet metal catalog here. To open this sheet metal group, you just double click it to open it, and here you have the sheet metal features. And you always begin with a stock, curve stock or conic stock. Then you can add more materials by using the add stock and bands, and you have also form shapes and punch shapes. And then it is just drag and drop. You drag a stock and drop it here in the scene. There is another way of doing it. If I click back here, go back to the starter catalog, you can also drag the sheet metal group, left click and hold and drag the sheet metal group and drop it here. And then you just double click the stock to add it to the scene, and this dialog box will open. And here you can choose the stock you want to use when you begin to design in sheet metal. And this dialog box opens because this box is checked, display the stock selection dialog on dropping stock. So I will uncheck this box. So when it is unchecked, it will be difference between left dragging and right dragging the group and drop it here in the scene. If I left drag the group and drop it here and choose a stock, this box will not open when this box is not checked. But if you right drag and drop it here in the scene, this window will open. So there is a difference between left dragging and right dragging and dropping this sheet metal group here in the scene. But we will have it this way, that when I right drag, this box will open, and if I left drag, this box will not open. Then I can also filter favorite stocks and default. If I now check this box, only the default stock will be selected because I haven't selected any favorite stock yet. So we will have it this way. Uncheck this box, but check this box so that we filter the favorite stocks. So then I will click OK. If I now select this stock and delete it and left drag the sheet metal group and drop it here and select the stock, the dialog box will not open. So I select it again, delete it, and right drag the sheet metal group and drop it here, select the stock, and the dialog box will open. So we will have it this way. So I click cancel. So now we will deselect this stock and then select it in part level and right click, and we go to part properties. We come to the sheet metal properties here. So here we have the properties of this stock that we have in the scene. It has the thickness of 2 millimeters. The minimum bend radius is 2 millimeters. You can change here if you want to change to another value. And here you have the properties and the quality of this stock that I have in the scene. You can also click on this button to select another stock, and you will open the same window that we just saw. Here we can select another stock if we want to. I click cancel here. This information that you see here comes from a stock table that are stored on the hard drive. And to see that stock table, we click cancel, and we can come up here to select options, but you can also come to menu and click options here. And if we now expand the sheet metal group and go to stock, here we see the sheet metal stock table. And here you can choose the default sheet metal stock. Now my default is set to hot rolled steel 2 millimeters, and we find it down here. You can select another one. If I now select this one, 1 millimeter, it will also be selected here. So now this one will be the default stock. If you want to make some changes here to, for example, add another sheet metal stock, you can use these 3 buttons. You can click add to add another sheet metal stock, and here you can add the information that you need to add the stock. If you want to edit an existing stock, you select the stock here in the list, in the table, and then click Edit to change the information here. And if you want to remove a sheet metal stock here in this table, you select it and then you click Remove. And you can also filter favorites. If I select or click this button now, nothing is selected because I haven't selected any favorites yet. So I click Show All, but I will select some favorites. I will come down here to hot rolled steel. I will select 1 millimeter and also 2 and 4 and 8. So now if I click Filter Favorites, I will see my 4 favorites stocks here. And I will have it this way. If we come down here, we see the path where the stock table txt is located on the hard drive. This txt file contains all the information that you see in this stock table. And if you want to make some changes in this txt file, the easiest way is to use these 3 buttons here. Then you have the path to the tool table txt, and this txt file controls the look of the form shapes and punch shapes. So if you want to make some changes to the form shapes and punch shapes, you have to open this txt file and make the changes. But if you are going to make some changes in this txt file, you have to make it right. And if you make some mistakes in this txt file, the form shapes and the punch shapes will not be available. So it is very important that you do it right. So then we come up here to sheet metal. We click here, and down here, advanced sheet metal options. Here you set the default size of the sheet metal stock that you drop it onto the scene. Now it has this size, and I will change this to 200 by 200. And then I click OK. So now I select this stock here, delete it. Then I left drag and drop the group here. Select the stock, and the dialog box will not open, and I have my new default stock and the size 200 by 200. So if I now select again or delete it and right drag the sheet metal group and drop it here and select the stock, this dialog box will open, and we see that I have my default stock 1 millimeter. I can also change another default stock here. If I select 2 millimeters and click Set Current as Default, and now the selected is the default stock. And if I also check this box, I can filter my favorites. So now I see my 4 favorite stocks here. So I click OK, and I have my new default stock here in the scene. So I deselect. Then we will continue to add more material to this stock. So I will drag the sheet metal group and drop it here. You can drop it on the edge or close to this edge. So I will drop it here. So I will add a curved stock this time. Double click. And we see the preview of the cross section when we use Add Curved Stock. So if I now right click, go to Edit Cross Section, I can change the look of this add stock. So if I now select the line here, grab this handle, and I will shorten a little bit like so. Then I come up here to select polyline. So now I will shape the profile of the stock. So I begin at the end point, drag a line, and up here, let's see now, and down to the x-axis. Click here, then press Escape to exit command. Now we have to add radius to the bands so it will bend in the right way. And here in this dialog box we see that the profile line is set to be at the center. I can move this line to be at the top or at the bottom. So now when it is set at the bottom, this radius will be outer radius, and when it's set to top it will be inner radius. So I will leave it to be at the top. So now I come up here to add fillet, and this stock has a thickness of 2 millimeters and the minimum bend radius is 2 millimeters. So I will click on this node and drag, and now if we go to the properties we see that the radius value is already selected. So now I can type 2 and hit enter because it is an inner radius. This one will be an outer radius. So I click on the node and drag, and here I will type 4 because the thickness of the stalk is 2 and the minimum bend radius is 2, so 2 plus 2 is 4. I type 4 and hit enter. Do the same here. Click the node, drag, type 4 and hit enter. Then I click finish shape, and we have designed the shape of this stalk by using an add stalk. So I'll move the camera to this side, and here I will drag the sheet metal group and drop it close to this edge. And now I will add a band, and we see that there are several bands. We have band, in band, and out band, and also band with stalk, in band with stalk, and out band with stalk. And the difference between band and band with stalk is that band with stalk has an add stalk attached to it. So in this case I will double click band with stalk and drop it there, and now we see the band and also the add stalk. So I will select the add stalk, and you can use this handle to change the length of this add stalk. So when it is selected in IntelliShape level, you can right click, go to edit cross section. That's not possible if you use a band, but a band with stalk you can go to edit cross section and change the look of this part of the band, the add stalk. So now I can grab this node here and change the angle. I can do the same on the other side. I can also, I will change that a little bit more, like so. Then I come up here to add a circle, click in the center and add a circle. Then I click finish, and it will look like this because it is a stalk that is added to the band. So then I will move the camera to look at the stalk from the side. So I will use W to look at, click here on this side of the stalk, and then disable the perspective camera, like so. We know that there are different bands. We have band, in band, and out band. This is a band, so the question is, if I want an in band or an out band instead of this band, do I have to delete this band and add another band, in band or out band? Well, if you select this stalk in part level, move the cursor to this location here, you will see two handles. The outer handle is for the band angle. You can grab this handle to change the angle of this band. But you can right click this handle, go to edit band alignment, and now you see that we have smooth alignment here, and you see a preview of the band here, that the stalk will end here, then it will continue with the band. Then we have inside radius alignment. Now we see the preview that the stalk will end at the inside of the band. So if I click OK now, select the stalk here, we see that the stalk will end at the inside of the band. So if I go back to the part level and double click this handle, we come back to the same dialog box. Now if I select outside radius alignment and click OK, select the stalk, we see that the stalk will now end at the outside of the band. So that is an out band now. So you have that option, so you don't have to delete the band to change from band to in band or out band. So if I now select the stalk in part level and grab this handle and drag, I can extend the band in this direction. It will not extend the stalk, it will just extend the band. So if I now select it in part level and right click this handle, I can also use it to snap to point or to center point. So I can snap to other parts here in the scene, or I can also edit the distance from a point or from a center point to adjust the length of the band. But now is the question, when I have extended the band like this, how do I come back to the starting point? Well, just double click this handle and choose smooth alignment and click OK, and we are back where we started. So I will move the camera to this position, and I will also activate the perspective camera. So now I will drag the sheet metal group and drop it here. Come down here to select the form shape. I'll select a rounded louver, drop it there, and then I'll turn on the tribal, select this axis, and I will rotate this piece 90 degrees. Turn off the tribal. So now when it is selected in IntelliShape level, I can right click and go to tooling properties, and here I can choose from the list, but there is only one in the list right now, so there is only one option. But you can also type in your own value. I will change here to 80 and 15 and 8 and click OK, and it will have this size. So now if I want to see if this rounded louver also will fit with another stock, I can select the stock here in part level, right click and go to part properties, and I can select a new stock, for instance 1mm, click OK and OK again, and it will work with a thinner stock. So I will go back here to change back to 2mm, like so. And I will drag the sheet metal group again and drop it here. Now I will use select a connector, a punch shape, double click, and then I zoom in quite a bit to right click here inside to choose tooling properties. Here from this list I will choose another, select standard, come up here, select it, click OK, and when we select from the list we will also get these buttons here, and the gray button shows that we are at the end of the list, so I will click on the red button here. So now if I continue to click, I come to the other end of the list, but I will select this one and click OK. So now when we have designed this stock in this way, I can select it and come here to Sheet Metal tab and click Unfold to unfold it. And I will select it again to refold it. So this is how you can use different sheet metal features. So this was a little bit about how to use sheet metal in IronCAD.